Okay, we had a few things happen this week. We were not bored. Epstein files are coming out. U.S. Attorney General promises to follow the law. Democrats say it's okay for the military to disobey illegal orders from the president, who is now calling for executions.
Oh, my goodness. Well, what country are we in? Here to help us through all the madness is Chuck Todd, the host of the Chuck Todd Cast. And so, any thoughts on what we'll actually see in these files of Jeffrey Epstein, the man with an island and all sorts of nasty allegations against his memory?
Well, here's what I would say. If you're, I got a good friend of mine who's a big JFK researcher, and about every year there's always some new batch of files that everybody thinks are going to be the batch of files that finally tell the story. And every time the batch of files come out, they never deliver. That is what's in my head on these things. They're always filled with a ton of redactions. There's always a lot of Sharpie markings on them, meaning big blackouts on them. So call me skeptical. I don't think whatever trove of documents people think are going to get released, I think there's going to be an ongoing investigation that limits what gets released. And B, I think what gets released will have so many redactions that it's going to be hard to feel like you got much. So I'm a bit skeptical because I've seen government do this for decades, right, and it's never what you hope it's going to be.
You know, and I think the thing that is incredibly frustrating to just your average Joe sitting on the freeway right now is there is this pervasive feeling that you have this guy somehow who is the center of this sex ring, essentially, with major names of people probably of all political stripes, let's be honest, involved in this, and that nobody is being held accountable, or very few are. You have your occasional little scapegoat.
I agree, and it feels like rich and powerful people looking the other way because of a fellow rich and powerful person. And I'll tell you, a lot of these people, you'd be amazed at the way people will prostitute their morals and ethics for a free ride on a private plane.
Right.
I know that sounds crazy, but it really does happen in this town. The amount of dumb, unethical, or immoral stuff people will overlook for a free plane ride is astonishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we almost wonder if, since Congress and the president are on board with the release, they're all united on this for the most part, are they're up to something unscrupulous,
what
or if they know anything.
Right, exactly. There's no way they're all in agreement on this. What are they up to? Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, which is, I think, questions you should be asking on a daily basis when
100%.
we're talking about elected officials. All right, Chuck, switching gears. Can the military, members of the military, ignore so-called illegal orders from the commander-in-chief? And how do you define illegal?
Well, it is if you think it's going to be found illegal. So I had a long conversation with on this topic with the former Supreme NATO Allied Commander Jim Stavridis. He used to run Southern Command. It is Southern Command this is all about Venezuela, by the way. This is all about that situation. And I asked him, if you, as the commander, had legal questions about an order you were given, what do you do? And he said to me, he says, this is what you're supposed to do. If you've got an issue, he says, as the commander, he says, I'd bring in my legal counsel. He says, every general has their own JAG legal counsel, and you go through it, and you go back to your, through the chain of command. In this case, it would be the Secretary of Defense. Do you show me the legal authority? And they either show you the authority, or if he said, this is an order of the commander-in-chief, if he says that you do it, if you're uncomfortable, you resign. And we, in fact, saw the head of the Southern Command about a month ago did just that.
Right.
Now, he didn't say why he resigned, and that was the other point Stavridis made to me. It says, in the military, if you think this is an illegal order, the honorable thing to do is to resign and not talk about it. You don't run to the press. You don't run to this. You just, that's the... But here's the thing. If you follow an illegal order and eventually there's a trial or there's an investigation, you can be held. You do not, it is not, it's not exculpatory to say I was just following orders.
Right.
So you do have your own, you have to follow the Constitution. Every soldier took an oath. So if you don't follow the Constitution, then yes, you can be held accountable. So the point is that everybody's right in this situation, right? If you refuse to follow a legal order, yeah, you can be brought up on sedition. But if you follow an illegal order, you also can be held accountable.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying here? Like, the right thing the president should say is, well, they're right, but I'm not giving illegal orders. I'm giving legal orders.
You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
Right.
That's what
But
it comes
that's
down
the
to.
actual, exactly. And I'm sorry, you as a young soldier, that's not an easy thing for you to figure out. And this is why it's a little frustrating. I do think that the president needs to make a better public case for the legal authority he's using to kill these people on these boats.
Right.
Because I do think that there is some questions here about how legal this is.
Political analyst Chuck Todd joining Arizona's Morning News as he does every Friday, and we greatly appreciate it. You can find him at thechucktoddcast.com.
Thanks for watching Arizona's Morning News. Click to watch more from KTAR News and hit the button in the middle to subscribe.